Oh my god, sorry, I'm just done. I'm so tired now, honestly.
Baby, listen to me, please. I've been dreaming about you every night. Now that you are here with me, all I wanna do is hold you tight.
Before I do anything, actually that's not true. I've already had a coffee, got ready, put my clothes on, done my hair. Before I do any work, I like to just do a few very lightweight moves in my sort of home gym style arrangement. These are like super lightweight, so we're literally talking 2 kilos each. Oh, these are so hard. And the other side. Right. It's honestly like the TARDIS. Hi. Right. I'm Lou, and I'm daring to make videos in HD as somebody who's not particularly good looking. So challenge 1, accepted. Challenge 2, putting myself in front of everybody so that they can bear witness to my journey as a early career researcher. Fancy little way of saying PhD student. And as somebody who is also battling certain mental health problems. Right, so I just had to I had to check that I was looking average on film. And I'm looking average, yes I am. Some hibiscus tea. Oh, it's like if you've squeezed 100 pomegranates and then added lemon essential oil. That's the level of tartness we're aiming for here. So today I thought I would do some videos of the kind, you know, sort of week in the life of a PhD student, although it's got to be said, this is no typical week. Today commences the last Monday of term. I believe Lent term at Cambridge. The final term is for some god knows why reason called Easter term. I don't understand why we still cling on to these highly religiously intonated names for the terms. That's the way Cambridge is, guys. So today I am going to be starting my edits for chapter 1. My PhD is going to have 3 chapters and an appendix. So this is basically one way of conceiving of a PhD thesis. A lot of people think of a PhD thesis as basically a book, as a potential monograph, something that is pretty long. So for me personally, I have proofread PhD theses that are plus of 100,000 words. However, at Cambridge, things don't have to be quite that prolix. Really glad about that. As much as I could wax lyrical about this particular topic, throughout my education have definitely benefited from keeping quite restrictive boundaries on topics. My work has been so much better the more narrowly defined the parameters are for the actual topic in question. This is chapter 1 of 3 plus an appendix. As I said in my last video, which if you haven't watched it, I would love for you to check it out. I will link it down below. This is basically ready or very nearly ready for being submitted to a journal. However, before I do any of that, I need to actually submit it officially as my end of year review piece of work. In about 2 or 3 weeks, I think, I'm gonna be having what's called a mini viva. If you don't already know, at the end of a PhD proper, there's this thing called the viva, which is basically a 2 to 3 hour defense of your piece of work. This is basically a quarter of my PhD. It is, I mean, the longer version, which I had to abandon or rather just sort of put to the side while I'm submitting work for the sake of review. Longer version was 22,000 words. I have managed to chop it down to 15,000. It needs to be chopped even further because the end of year review basically wants you to have a piece of work that's between 6 and 10,000 words. So I have quite a lot of work left to do this week on this particular piece of work, in addition to actually fixing it up in accordance with my supervisor's comments. I need to, in any case, reduce it and make it even more sort of dense than it already is. So that's another challenge for the week. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is my going into therapy. This is quite personal, as you can imagine. It was something that I debated talking to you about. It's a side of me that I'm not particularly open with people about this, although I think if you've got any dealings with me, you can probably infer what my problem is. And that is social anxiety disorder. It's obviously really hard to tell when somebody on YouTube has social anxiety disorder. In fact, social media as a whole is a massive disguise for this kind of problem, because you can control everything you put out. You have fairly decent control over your image and your persona and everything like that. So it can be really difficult for people to know that actually you really struggle with social situations. This is serious. I genuinely only have like 2 actual friends in the entire world beyond family and my husband and my cats. I basically read this book over Christmas time when I was going through a real low with my mental health, and basically what had happened was that I was reflecting on becoming an academic proper, pursuing an academic career, and really taking stock of everything that would entail. It really occurred to me that the problems I have with social anxiety disorder are apt to get in the way of me actually pursuing this dream. Becoming an academic has obviously been the goal at the end of this not exactly unpleasant tunnel of education for the last 7 years, and then some when we go back to the school days. I finally actually got into view the kind of things I will actually have to do as a paid up academic philosopher. I started to realise just how interpersonal that job really is, and how if I don't conquer my social anxiety, this is going to be one of the biggest barriers to me actually succeeding in even penetrating this career. After 10 years of struggling with social anxiety, but always really having a problem with shyness and, you know, not being particularly socially proactive or outgoing, I finally decided I need to do something about this. And I read this book over Christmas called We're All Mad Here. So anyway, Claire Eastham in her book recommended Anxiety UK. Hello, focus. You know you want to. She recommended Anxiety UK, and then I basically hit them up and wanted to have therapy after all this time. I have my first therapy session today, which is quite... I'm quite anxious about it. I mean, that's just the most classic case of anxiety, isn't it? That's a clusterfuck. Anyway, so that is what we're doing today. Before that, of course, I am cataloguing all of the feedback I've gotten on my first chapter, ready for formal submission on Friday. And while I'm doing that, I have to not lose my mind about the therapy I've got today, because I'm actually quite anxious about it. Oh my god, it's so tart. Honestly, I'm never gonna get over this. Look at it. Look at how beautiful it is though. Look at how... oh shit. Shit. Oh fuck. I just poured hibiscus tea on my on my husband's like work. Right. Okay, I'm gonna go. This is a situation. One thing that I have actually forgotten to mention is that my mother has my spectacles, so I can't actually properly start working until the courier has actually delivered them. Bingo. So, to prepare myself for Friday, when I have to submit everything to the graduate administrator for my mini viva, I have to go through the notes that my supervisor left on my work from our last supervision, as well as remembering some of the conversation we had, and basically put it into a document so that I can make a formal account of what happened in that supervision and basically make sort of minutes as if it was a kind of meeting. And then I make a supervision feedback document like I did for the last time I had a supervision. For example, last time we had something that looked a bit like this, and so it's like a page of bullet points really, so that I have something concrete to have in hand when I'm making the edits on the document. Another thing that I need to do is to actually shorten this piece of work by about 1,000 words, and I'm thinking I can probably achieve this just from being a lot more selective about my footnotes. I'm a little bit prolix, as you can see, in the footnote department. To be honest with you, the argument of the paper is pretty much self-sufficient. The footnotes, in my opinion, are helpful and offer sort of further thoughts that I can't take up in this precise piece of work. But in any case, because I'm thinking of sending this piece to a journal who accept shorter submissions than 10,000 words, although they do countenance longer submissions, they prefer things to be around 6,000 words. I need to start thinking quite seriously about what could actually be removed from this piece without completely shattering what it has in terms of integrity. Right, everybody, so I just had my first therapy session for social anxiety disorder. I'm feeling quite exhausted actually. Firstly because just being in the elevated state of stress that social anxiety causes, because don't forget that even having a face-to-face with a therapist is another way that my social anxiety can manifest. It's another form of performance, according to my socially anxious brain. I'm really quite depleted from that. However, I do feel really encouraged and just relieved. My therapist seems like a complete legend. I am so grateful to Anxiety UK for sorting me out with like the best therapist. Oh my god, sorry, I'm just done. I'm so tired now. Honestly, there won't be any more research today because I'm just so like knackered from, I was chatting for like, oh god, nearly 2 hours. Oh man, takes a lot out of you. But I'm gonna call it a day for this vlog. It wasn't the most characteristic day in the life of a PhD student. What I want to show you is that this is my life, and I'm a PhD student and I'm going through these problems. I'm showing you how I can basically try to compartmentalize as much as possible the issues I'm having with my mental health and my approach to work. I'm gonna make myself some late lunch now and I will see you all again really soon. As you know, my emphasis with this channel for here on in is really to show you how to combine an emphasis on well-being with another emphasis on education. In the name of all things healthy, although I do completely denigrate how much plastic packaging Waitrose thinks we need on our groceries. I'm gonna make a raw vegan Caesar salad for lunch with a tahini dressing. I will show you the finished project in a minute. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing as well. So, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you soon.